I'm Sam. This is Luna. This is Fran. It is an 82 Volkswagen Vanagon. So basically a Westie without the pop top. So this is our living room. Got our couch, hangout area. Cooler doubles as a table for Luna's water and food dish. And our little kitchenette. So this lifts up into a stove. Got 2 burners. Unfortunately, my sink's not running right now, but it's a really cool setup where I've got a huge water tank under here with a filtration system that runs through. This is a sweet storage area here, but there's a huge water tank under here, and then you can move all these things out of the way to access it. But to make that a little easier, we'll actually go over to the driver's side to show you. Kind of like a cool vacuum hose that you can just take off and fill the water up through there. So this is basically all I own, and in here I've got pants, shirts, books, mostly storage for jackets and things, and like that bag holds some dirty laundry. In here is all like underwear, socks, yoga clothes. Then there's like Luna things up here, leashes, balls, etc. I've got a little charging station back here. Engines under here. Keeps the bed warm. The cool thing is these all came out of a Westie, and you can see with the hinges there, it looks like it's supposed to be a little pop-out cupboard, but I've got them on sliders. And so I've got kind of like all my coffee stuff in this one. This cupboard, Luna has somehow gotten this whole cupboard with her food and treats. And then we've got dishes up here. One of those miscellaneous sort of drawers that has utensils but has also just a lot of crap in it. And then this one's also on sliders, coming out with like food, produce on the top, like non-perishables on the bottom. These little pot lights that are hooked up to a secondary battery, which is under here. So a secondary battery that any sort of internal electrical runs off of, it gets charged up when I'm running the van off of the main battery, and then just use the extra area as storage. As for not having a pop top, I think as far as urban camping goes, it's pretty good because you can't really pop the top when you're sleeping in a city, to be a little more inconspicuous. So it's kind of nice that way. Nonetheless, like obviously I fold up my bed after I'm done using it first thing in the morning and make it back into the couch and keep everything as organized as possible, but you'd have to do that with the pop top anyway. So I'm sure if it was more than one person, it'd be a little excessive, and it'd be nice to have that separate little area. This is going to be my first winter in Canada living in a van. Just got my little Mr. Heater buddy. So far it's been good. The cool thing about living in a van in the summertime is like I love spending a lot of time outdoors. So it's absolutely fine that I just need somewhere to sleep, somewhere to make my food, but I spend majority of my time outdoors anyway. So it does get a little more challenging come the winter to be cooped up in a small space and stay warm. The heater is going to help. Lots of books help. And loving friends with couches are cool too.
So what got you into this kind of lifestyle in the first place?
Well, I lived in New Zealand in a van for a year, which was very, very accessible. And yeah, I kind of just got stuck on that idea. We really don't need much. And before that New Zealand trip of living in a van for a year, I lived on a sailboat for 3 years. Kind of done the alternative living thing for a good 5 years, and haven't felt the need to have anything beyond my needs.
Is minimalism something that's important to you?
Yeah, I think we get really caught up in like these wants and trying to fill voids with things, and I don't know where it originally stemmed from in me, because I know for a long time I've been very persistent on like family members during like holidays and birthdays and stuff being like, I don't need anything. And if it's something I do really need or like, exceptionally want, it's like I can get it for myself. And I have this weird thing about like, if I did live in a space, it's like I want it very easy to be able to like pick up and go. I want that to be a thing with how much I own.
Would you recommend this lifestyle to anyone? And if so, like what type of person?
I wouldn't necessarily recommend it to everyone. It has its challenges, and I'm not saying I hold more strength than the average person to be able to do it. It's just I've kind of figured out the ways, and if you're looking for an alternative lifestyle or a way to maybe save money, then that's that's a good way to go about it. But yeah, you've got to, it's not easy. There's its challenges for sure. I think life and its experiences are our greatest teachers, and the good and the bad. And everything has its lesson. And even the really shitty, challenging times, you kind of come out of them with something learned and a way to approach that next shitty, uncomfortable situation. I kind of bring those lessons a lot into my yoga teachings, and the fact that like we could be in an uncomfortable pose, shape, whatever, and as long as you can breathe your way through it, then it's like in an uncontrolled environment, a really anxious situation, whether it be with another person or road rage or whatever, it's like you can find your way to breathe through anything, right?
How has it been for you finding work while living in a van?
It's actually, I think being a yoga instructor is probably one of the best options when it comes to living an alternative lifestyle, because when I was living on the sailboat and now living in the van, it's like the most asked question is like, well, how do you shower? And luckily I work in a hot yoga studio and I get to shower on a daily basis. It gets me to the studio to practice, or I'm there for work, and I have access to a shower and facilities at all times, which is a really, really sweet bonus.
How do you find parking the van and like finding places to stay overnight?
This is one of those things that comes across slightly hypocritical because as much as I love that other people are getting into the van life scene and there's like a community building around it, which is amazing, and like a lot of a support system with other people that live in vans, it's also the more of us that there are, the more obvious it is, and the more we stand out and the more we bother people that don't agree with our lifestyle choices. And so, it seems a lot harder to be in certain places than it did a couple of years ago. More complaints, more bylaw officers knocking on your doors. Luckily, I've never dealt with that in Victoria. I've never been told to move my van in the middle of the night, which is great, and I'm sure it would be a different answer if I had a pop top. My favorite thing about living in a van is it's my own space. Like everything I own is right here. It's like it feels like a safe place for me and Luna, and it's, we can take it with us wherever we go. It's like nothing gets left behind. It's funny, I think the same thing went for me living on a sailboat, that people kind of romanticize the idea, right? Like it looks really cool in maybe some Instagram post or something. And people are like, oh, you've lived this adventurous lifestyle and you're going on all these road trips and doing this and that. And it's like, there's just like anything, just like any relationship that people think is perfect. It's, it has its downs and its tough points and its heartaches and challenges for sure. So like anything else, especially when it comes to like the whole social media age right now, is like, don't go romanticizing anything. It's, so if people are looking at it thinking like that looks really cool, maybe look a little deeper because it is cool. And like, I wouldn't change my lifestyle right now, but it's also just not a picture with a positive quote every time. So on that note, you could follow me, Luna, and my van at _SamStreeter.
What's up, guys? It's Forrest. Thank you so much for watching that video. Please hit like and subscribe to this channel if you're not already. Right below me right now is a playlist of a whole bunch of videos I've done on alternative dwellings, vans, sailboats, tiny homes, all sorts of good stuff. So go ahead and click that link and continue watching. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next week. I upload every single Monday at 7:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.